Hello and welcome to my channel, SavvySalena. I'm Selena and I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I'll be investing $50,000 into the stock market using the Schwab app. Before I jump into the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you know the next time that I upload. Before I reveal the portfolio, I know that you have two questions already lingering in the back of your head. The first, and probably most obvious, where did you get 50,000 bucks? And the second, why I chose Charles Schwab as my brokerage. Well, the first question is actually quite easy. This money came from an old 401k. I left my company back in 2019 and decided to leave my 401k there until I was ready to take ownership of it on my own. And now is that time. So I did a simple process of a 401k rollover to an IRA. However, I had two 401ks, one being a traditional 401k and the other being a Roth 401k. And here I'll show you a breakdown. I decided to move each of these individually into their respective IRAs. Now, if you don't know the difference between traditional and Roth, I'll simply say that for a Roth 401k, that means I paid taxes on that money before I put it in there. That allows that money to grow tax-free in its entirety. Whereas the traditional funds have not paid any taxes, we've not paid any taxes on those. And so once we pull those funds out of the account, we will be responsible for the taxes. My old 401k was hosted at Charles Schwab, and I noticed that I was able to easily open up a IRA account, put that new account number in, and roll it over in a very seamless process. And so the ease of doing the rollover IRA was one thing that made it a top pick in my mind. However, there were other things that also impacted my decision. For example, Charles Schwab does stock slices, which allows you to buy fractional shares of stocks for you to invest in. Now, this isn't something that I plan on using today. However, it could be something that I would be interested in the future, and I would like to keep my options open. I work for an investment bank, and I'm very limited in the brokerage accounts that I am able to use. Charles Schwab is one of the 7 approved brokerages that my company allows me to invest with. And so I'm not able to go to Robinhood or M1 Finance to buy those fractional shares. So Charles Schwab offering those share slices is something that's really interesting to me and something I would like to use in the future. Lastly, the Charles Schwab checking account. I do like that Charles Schwab offers a checking account and other banking features. Now, it's not something that I'm going to use today as I'm very happy with my credit union, but it could be something I'd like to leverage in the future. They have a really good program with ATM fees being refunded back to your account, as well as also making it easy to transfer money and invest it straight into a brokerage account. And again, as I grow and learn more about my financial journey and open up a brokerage account for taxable investing, that is something that I would be interested in having. The fractional shares plus the banking capabilities plus the ease of the rollover made Charles Schwab my top pick for brokerage accounts, and that's why I chose to invest my money there. I want to make sure that I talk a little bit about our IRA strategy. So my husband and I are currently in our debt payoff and savings for emergency, building up that emergency fund part of our debt-free journey. So investing is not something that we're really able to do in large contributions. It's really important for us to leverage the money that we have saved and will continue to save into really good funds. And we're mostly looking here at index funds and ETFs. We don't have any individual stocks in our portfolio, but it could be something that we look into the future once we reach more financial stability. I also would like to say that I understand here on YouTube there's a lot of opinions about people's portfolios and the funds they choose to invest in. All I ask here on my channel is that you respect the funds that I choose as I would respect yours. This would be a great time for me to let you know that while I do work for an investment bank, I am not an investment broker or financial advisor. Nothing on this channel should be considered as financial advice. This is me simply sharing my own research and journey for my family. I advise you to also do your own research and reach out to an advisor when you find it necessary. Now let's break down how I invested $50,000. Our first account breakdown is the Roth 401k. My Roth 401k had a total of $15,120.26. I knew that I wanted to break this money up into 3 different funds. I also knew that I wanted them to be at different percentages and not quite equal. So I decided to invest one fund at 15%, another fund at 20%, and then a third fund at 65%. The first fund that I decided to invest in with my Charles Schwab Roth IRA account was SCHH, which is Charles Schwab US Reit ETF. This is an investment fund that focuses on real estate investing. The reason why I chose this fund is because it is a great way to get invested in real estate without having to buy actual properties. In this fund, we are able to collect dividend payments from the properties held, and so that we are also generating income. I made an initial investment of buying 47 shares at $47.82 for a grand total investment of $2,247.62. Now, I did choose to reinvest the dividends, so I'm hoping to see that this fund and our position to grow over time. The second fund that I chose for my Roth IRA is the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. Now, this particular fund tracks the Dow Jones 500 top dividend paying stocks. We decided to invest in this fund again as our first investment into dividend paying stocks, and instead of picking just one, I decided to go with an entire fund of them. I purchased 38 shares for $77.57 for a grand total price of $2,948.02. And again, we will be reinvesting these dividends. Top holdings for this fund include Pfizer, PepsiCo, Cisco, and Home Depot. We are very excited for this to be our first dividend fund and looking forward to investing into more. I decided to pick for my third fund and my Roth IRA to be the Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund, ticker symbol SWPPX. I decided to go with this fund as it tracks the top 500 companies within the entire stock market. Investing in the stock market, of course, I want to look at the top companies across the board. And so without limiting myself to any sector or particular division, I am opening and casting the wide net and tracking the entire gamut of the top 500 companies. Top holdings in this fund are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, as well as Tesla. For the S&P 500, I spent a total of $9,924.67. I purchased 143 shares of this fund at about $69 a share. Moving on from our Roth to our traditional IRA. For our traditional IRA, we had $35,808.26 to invest. Again, here I chose 3 funds and still breaking those out in percentages of 65%, 20%, and then 15%. The first fund that I chose in my traditional IRA is the Schwab Healthcare Fund, also known as ticker symbol SWHFX. Now, this fund to me is something that I wanted to do because I really wanted to invest in a particular sector. At first, I assumed that I was going to go with the technology sector, but I decided to switch to healthcare based on all the things that are happening around us and what I believe to be in the future. I do believe that healthcare, both in this country and globally, is a great investment. As we know, inflation as well as the cost of things always rise, and I think it's a great time to get invested in the healthcare industry. The top holdings for this fund are Johnson & Johnson, United Health Group, and we also see here that we have investments in Pfizer and Merck. The second fund that I decided for my IRA account is the Vanguard Growth Index Fund. Now, this fund I decided to do instead of an international fund. I did look at many international index funds as well as ETFs, but I did not like the rate of return that I was seeing from those groups. And so I decided now would be a great time to look into some growth index funds. The top holdings in this are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. However, I do understand that these may change as other companies emerge and also have lots of great growth. For the Vanguard Growth ETF, I purchased 24 shares at $298.26 for a total investment of $7,158.24. The third fund that I chose for my IRA, as well as the largest investment percentage, is going to, and you may have guessed it, that's right, Charles Schwab Total Stock Market Index Fund, ticker symbol SWTSX. Now, I chose this fund because it is a composite of the entire stock market and it is the baseline for our investment strategy. We believe that as long as we're investing in the total stock market, we are getting all the highs and the lows, but really I'll see an average of how the entire stock market is doing in my portfolio. Top holdings for this include Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. I purchased a total of 294 shares at about $79.11 per share, with a total investment of $23,275.46. The investments in my IRA only account for 50% of our total investment portfolio. Here on the screen, I'm showing all the investments that my husband and I hold. These are a combination of 401k accounts, IRA, and Roth IRAs. I would like to highlight that I do have a target date fund for my current 401k, and it's performing quite well. My husband also holds a Fidelity Total Stock Market Index Fund, as well as an S&P 500 fund, and he also has a technology sector ETF. We do expect our investment accounts to grow over time as we contribute more from both our paychecks into our 401k accounts, as well as IRA and Roth IRA accounts in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this Invest With Me and look into our investment portfolio, and I'm sure you'll be here to grow with us. Until next time, stay savvy, and I'll see you later.